Hello and welcome to another episode of the Autos and Airways podcast. Today we are here with my friend Brandon Brooks. He is a local Cincinnatian, all-around petrol head, great guy. He has a really cool collection. He's got some really cool cars. He also has his own podcast, which is called the Idiots Podcast. It is, at least in my opinion, the funniest thing I have heard in quite a long time. It's just him and his buddies talking about just crazy shit that's happened in the news.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Bob and Tom way of doing things, but a little more idiotic. And
it's hilarious. And you may or may not be on it soon. So,
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So again, Brandon, thank you so much for coming on. And start off. Let's do the cars and bid segment. So I know you chose two cars. I'll go first. I'll go really quickly. I chose something a bit different. So what I chose here is here we go. Share screen. There we go. 2013 Mini JCW GP. So also known as the GP2. Okay. It's the second generation of the John Cooper Works GP, and it's basically a mini track car. Now, they recently came out with the GP3, the current generation one, and I actually drove one, and I was thoroughly disappointed with it. First of all, it's only available with an automatic, and it's not a good automatic. Slow to shift. It was just too track car.
Really?
It doesn't make a whole lot of sense in a Mini, in the new one. I've not driven the old one. I've not driven this one, but I know it's better because it's got a manual. But yeah, they were all finished in this gray with the graphics and these really cool looking wheels. And these things made a little bit more horsepower. These were like 200, I don't remember. It should say 211 horsepower, 207 pound-feet of torque stock. Now, this one had some modifications to it. And there's a dyno sheet that says this particular one is making 222 horsepower and 224 pound-feet of torque. But yeah, as you can see, it's basically a Mini, but it's stripped down. It doesn't have all of the luxury features that come in Minis. And as you can see, once we get to the back at some point, come on, yeah, there we go. No seats. It has
that's a car there for practicality.
Yeah, you have a giant bar there to increase torsional rigidity. And you have a lot of cargo room, but it's only a two-seater. And it's not, Minis aren't super practical to begin with, but.
See, I mean, the only thing I can see this being useful for is like, if you do the occasional track day, you don't want to spend a bunch of money on a track toy, like, that makes sense, of course.
Yeah.
But like, when I think Mini, I think practicality and a lot of fun and very economical. Back road bombing, Sunday drives, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
I agree. I think this is kind of unnecessary, but it's cool. Yeah. It's cool, but if for me a Mini, and I agree, the current generation Mini Cooper S is one of the most fun cars I've ever driven. It might not look like much, but they really are fun to drive. It's got that classic British charm that other cars don't have. Even though this is the newest one is so BMW, it still has that British charm. I know you know all about that. You of course have an F-Type, but that's why I like these. They have that thing that pretty much all British cars have, that something special you just can't really put your finger on. It just makes them likable.
Right. Yeah, they are very they're just charming, I guess.
Yeah, they're charming. They're in a way kind of almost like British people. They can be very charming, or they can just be a complete dick.
Right.
Depending on how much they've had to drink.
British cars can be a pain in the ass. That's
yes, they can. Speaking of which, my Defender is currently in the shop right now because the module for the fuel pump went bad.
Nice computer.
Yeah, computer.
Computers.
I don't know exactly how it went bad. Maybe it got wet or something, but it's it completely crapped out on me when I was driving. I tried to get it to the dealer and I had to call roadside assistance. So now I guess it really is a true proper Land Rover now.
Yeah, right. That's full ownership experience of a a Land Rover, even a lot of tiny cars.
But you know what? I have an extended warranty, so I'm not really concerned.
Mhm.
They did not give me a loaner car though.
Really? Oh yeah. What, did you make an appointment on that? You just
Well, they don't have any. They sold a lot of them. Last time
Hmm.
it was in, they gave me a loaner, but also it just showed up and they didn't have any available. So
Mhm.
they might be able to get me one. I don't know how long it's going to take.
Mhm.
If it takes more than a week, I'm sure they can probably get me a car. But right now, I
Yeah.
don't need one, so it's all right. But we'll
Right. Yeah, it's like I took the J. I took the I had it. I think about it, I had an appointment like in October,
Mhm.
and I made the appointment in September, and it was like a month because I needed a loaner car. And I was like,
Yeah,
yo, oh, I didn't know. I was worried about it, but I was, like, it's gonna be a while out. I was like, and it was about a month away for a loaner car appointment. And
yeah,
then something came up like a day. I think it was like supposed to like downpour or something. I don't like driving that type of rain just because it's a pain in the ass clean. So I'm like, you know what? It's like not my daily, like we can just reschedule. And they're like, it'll be November. He's correct. So like the next like available point was like late November. I was like 4 or 5 weeks away. And I think it got really cold or rained or they salted the roads or something. I was like, nah, I'll just do it next season. But the loaner car thing there is pretty tight. It's good luck in the loaner.
it is. It is. And I know your F type is cool because it's the V8S, which was 1 year only.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's when I was looking, I was like, man, well, first of all, the good thing is like I want a rear-wheel drive car. The all-wheel drive ones are newer and more expensive. It's like, all right, so it's cheaper anyway, so that's cool. But that's not the car, kind of like the Mini, where I think like it's not a track toy. It can be. It does amazing on the track. I've taken the autocross before, and it was a blast. But like that car is fun on the back road in the summertime. So some people buy those cars with all-wheel drive. A lot of client base wanted them to have all-wheel drive. So I think late 2015 they went to all-wheel drive for the R. They renamed the S to R and gave it 50 more horsepower, of course. And rear-wheel drive is it's really really happy. And I was like, all right, cool, it's perfect. That's what I want to hear. So that's what I went with. The all-wheel drive ones. There is a guy down in like Marymount, Indian Hill area. I keep seeing him all the time driving back and forth. He has a blue like 16 F-Type R all-wheel drive. He like everywhere, rain, snow, sleet, everywhere. I'm like, okay, that's where all-wheel drive makes sense for that car.
Yeah.
But for a fun car, for a rear wheel.
Yeah, I agree. I think the rear wheel drive, I've driven the rear drive ones. They're great. I will say though, the all-wheel drive ones are really good too because I love Jaguar's all-wheel drive system. It's always rear wheel drive until
that's what I've heard. Yeah, I
it.
haven't driven the all-wheel drive one yet, but every review and video I've seen, everybody's like, "Yo, this is like still a very rear-driven car."
Yeah, you can get it. I mean, I have neighbors that have them. They've let me take it out before, and you can get it to slide. Once it does start sliding, you can feel it send torque to the front, and it will pull you out. It's not the hooligan that the rear wheel drive ones are, but they're still great, and it's my favorite car of all time. They look awesome. They're old now, but they're still really luxurious. The engine, the 5-liter V8, is one of the best engines in my opinion ever made. Much more reliable now than they used to be, and it's my favorite car of all time. I mean, give me a British Racing Green F-Type R coupe, tan interior. Just is a 911 a better sports car? Yes.
Yeah.
But it doesn't, like, going back to that special something about a 911 is not charming at all. They're so good because they're engineered.
911s they're very like clinical, like the way they do everything. And like a 911 is good at everything. And like you can't really like hate 911 or you can't hate Porsche.
Right.
They've done, but like when I drive 911, I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's fast. That sounds right. The interior is okay. But nothing like, there's no standout points, And, people are like, oh, 911, you compare it to like an S-Smart V Advantage or an F-Type or whatever, Ferrari Aroma. And like, oh, 911 better track. And this many more G-forces and it's 0.2 of a second quicker to 60. And it's like, none of that matters. You're probably not drag racing it if you are going to get beat. And if you're on a track, cool, but how often are you on a track? Like 99% of cars are
Right.
on the road. So get something that's fun, that has character. Get 0 to 60 and stuff and all that. Like as long as it's fast enough for you, that's cool. But just character. It has to have soul. It has to have a personality and be a little wild, a little crazy, a little stupid.
Yeah.
But 911's like you said, 911's good at everything. You can take them on a road trip, you can pick a school, a grocery. You can do, and they're fast and reliable, all-wheel drive, and you can see everything out of them, and there's like no flaws. But if it's flawless, it's like what? It's just fun.
Right. And the other thing also with F-types, compared to a 911, they are incredibly cheap.
Oh,
I mean, the value in used ones, well, now it's a little bit of a different story, but in normal times, used ones were even cheaper. You could get a really nice used one for like 40 to 50 grand.
Yeah. That's the values on a recent 2014, and like about the same that I paid for mine in 2018. So I'm like, all right, like they're kind of like, I think they're starting to like level out depreciation wise, but like I said, 911 is still like sky high. Use 911 like six figures. It's like a 4S with like 400 horsepower, 380 horsepower. Like, what the hell?
Right.
It's boring.
Yeah.
Boring.
So let's move on. So you chose two cars for Cars and Bids. First one, talk about this SL600, which is beautiful.
Yeah, that's my kind of car right there. Drop top GT 10, interior black wood grain. Yeah.
I could see you driving this thing, listening to like, you're a big Nelly fan, right?
Oh yeah.
Like I could see you like, yeah.
Yeah, Country Grammar, top off, summertime. That's all me right there.
Honestly, Country Grammar is one of my favorite albums of all time.
Oh, it's one of the best. Yeah.
It's great. I mean, it's every time I'm in a Range Rover, I do feel like I have to play that song. But
it's only right.
I don't know. I'd say my favorite song off that album is probably EI. That's probably my favorite. But
there's famous than that. Jesus.
Country Grammar, that's a great album. But this, I mean,
that's just it. That is like quintessential peak 90s Mercedes. It's understated. It's timeless. It's like that car looks just as good right now as it did brand new on the showroom floor.
I mean, so good. Black over tan is great too. This wood trim. I mean, look at the seats. I mean, they are the backrest is immaculate. The cushion's got a little bit of wear on it, but it's a car that's 23 years old. It's gonna have that.
Yeah, it's damn near perfect. I mean, that thing is that's like I don't like not that I don't like. I don't favor the current Mercedes generation over this kind of stuff. Or even early 2000s, 2010 Mercedes, I think was better, more interesting. But this stuff especially was like over designed, beautiful, just everything was timeless.
This was the end of when Mercedes was run by engineers and not accountants.
Right. The second the CLA dropped, shit went like
that was I get the CLA, but the new one's a lot better. But I honestly can't think everything that Mercedes makes now. I'm just not that big of a fan, with the exception of I love the S-Class. I mean, the S-Class, you can't not love an S-Class.
The S-Class, I saw some of the other day that the S-Class is, all things considered, everything, S-Class is the best car in the world. It's the best car in the world. There are two cars that are more luxurious. That's, well, maybe three, I guess, the Maybach version of it or the old actual Maybachs.
Right.
Any Rolls Royce and the Bentley Flying Spur and and so on. Those cars are more luxurious, right? But you could argue that they're too expensive and that they draw too much attention and that the maintenance might be too much. So even with those cars have three drawbacks in some people's minds. The S-Class has no drawbacks.
No.
Everything about it is perfect. The experience, it doesn't stand out really. If you know what it is, you know what it is. But 99% of the population is going to see a black sedan drive by and not think twice. It's comfortable, it's fast, it's well engineered, it's just perfect. It's the perfect car.
S-Class is, and there's a reason. It's kind of this, Cadillac was the standard of the world, but in reality, it's the S-Class. I mean, when you when a new S-Class comes out, every car in 10 years is going to have technology from that. And whenever a new S-Class comes out, that is literally a vision into the future. because the S Class,
Yeah.
it was the first car. It was the first car to have ABS and airbags, I believe.
Mhm. Traction control,
Traction stability control,
uh,
radar
crumple
cruise.
zone, radar cruise, crumple zone, blind spot. All just you can't even name them. There's like hundreds of patents, especially safety patents that were all debuted in the S Class. It's like in 1960. It's insane.
And that's the thing. When you think of like the two cars that really kind of are the best of the best in terms of just like something that's really kind of, it's always going to be a vision into the future, S Class, and to a lesser extent, but still significant, the Range Rover.
Yeah.
In terms of SUVs, because Range Rover was the first SUV to have traction control, stability control, ABS, air suspension, all of that stuff.
Right. The Range Rover was the one that, like the current market of like luxury crossovers and luxury SUVs and performance luxury all that shit was invented by Range Rover.
Yeah.
Like before Range Rover, it was you had a nice luxury sedan, or sports car, or you had a truck or a truck-based SUV, and that was it.
Maybe you had a Grand Wagoneer, but I wouldn't call that a luxury.
Yeah. But fake wood paneling and plastic interiors really ain't, luxury.
Right. Jeep claims they invented the luxury SUV, but come on, the Grand Wagoneer. No.
Cool car. I respect it, but it's not true luxury.
In the new one, not the same, but man, my God, have you been in the new one?
No, but I've seen plenty of pictures, and the inside looks amazing.
I'll be honest with
you. The outside looks frumpy and disproportionate. Yeah.
So yesterday I was at the Auto Expo downtown, and then I drove a Wagoneer last month, and that is by far the nicest American car I've ever been in.
Really?
Yes.
Even over the Escalade?
Yes. I genuinely think it is nicer than the new Escalade.
Okay.
I mean, everything you touch, everything you interact with is the highest quality. This, I said this on record before, and I'll say it again. That thing is within 10% as nice as a Range Rover. That's like how close it is. And I would have never, ever expected anything like that from Chrysler.
No. And especially out of all places, Jeep. I figured if we're gonna do something like that at that echelon, it would be like the Wrangler.
Yeah,
they could pimp it out and make it a nice luxury truck. But for Jeep to go ahead and do that, that's impressive. And I like the Grand Wagoneer, and I hate the Grand Wagoneer.
Mm-hmm.
I like the interior is beautiful, the Macintosh sound system, the materials, the fact that it's like this American return to luxury, other than Cadillac. It's like a true American luxury car. And
Macintosh sound system's great. It's really good. Yes, it's really good.
I don't think they can mess anything up, honestly.
Because I'm big into the sound systems, and so Macintosh system's great. But so in my personal opinion, like my top 5, number 1, it's the mid-level Meridian 3D surround sound system in the new Range Rover. I heard that a couple weeks ago when I saw the new one. And that one was just it wasn't the Meridian signature that's like the 1600 watt 30 speaker. This was 19 speaker 800 watt 3D surround sound. It was better than the old Meridian signature. I'm a huge fan of the stuff Meridian does. So, and then the next best one, you're not going to agree with me, but I don't know, maybe the Volvo S60 Bowers and Wilkins. I know you don't like Volvo, but that is a really good sound system.
I agree. Yeah, Volvo's dog shit, but that system is pretty significant. I mean, it's Bowers and Wilkins like that. Again, Bowers and Wilkins and like Harman Kardon and Name and Lexicon, like these, they can't mess anything up.
Right.
They can't do anything bad. Another really good system that I grew up with in a couple cars was the system in any Lexus LS. So they use Mark Levinson, and then they have a base system that's unbranded, but I believe the Mark Levinson still makes that system, but it's less speakers and less wattage and that kind of stuff, less channels. But I had a pretty much base 3 LS for one of the best cars I ever owned. Shouldn't have sold it. But that sound system was flawless. like
Yeah.
the bass, the highs, the mids, the lows, the power, the clarity. And it was a 180,000 mile 2003 Lexus I got for $7,000. Like, and the thing was, it was better than most modern audio systems.
Yeah. So
It
that was
so good.
Mark
Yeah.
Levinson is on my list. That was number 5, actually. So my 5th
Yeah.
best was in the IS, the Mark Levinson.
Yeah.
Number 3 is the Bang & Olufsen. You can get in basically any new Audi, the high-end Bang & Olufsen. And then number 4 is the Revel system in the Lincoln Aviator. That was really good.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, so good. I mean, it was so good. And we're actually we're in the early stages of renovating our basement, and we're redoing our media room, and we're having Revel speakers put in our house.
Oh yeah.
Because those were the options. So yeah, let's move on quickly. I know you're kind of short on time. Let's quickly talk about.
We're about to go to the auto expo, and I got a friend on the way to my house. So
okay,
check these cards out.
So let's do new Ferrari SUV, the you say it, I can't say it.
Yeah, the Purosangue.
Purosangue, confirmed for production this year. You know, that is you know, I have a friend, one of my previous guests, she works for Ferrari. She literally had no information on this. Like, I mean, she said that, yeah, it's coming, but they haven't told us anything. But that, come on, that looks like a long wheelbase, slightly more ground clearance FF or GTC4 Lusso.
Yeah, the renders I've seen have kind of like based it off of like a GT, like I said, FF GTC4 Lusso. We'll see. So Ferrari has to do this, right? Because at this point, they've been the last holdout. Everybody has made an SUV. Lamborghini has an SUV. Everybody has an SUV. Well, when I say SUV, I mean crossover technically. Yeah. But everybody has one. And now there's this massive market for them. And their clients have finally started demanding, you know, an SUV for a few years. And now they're doing it. The issue is, I don't like crossovers. Like, I kind of get the appeal, but like a sedan's usually better.
Yeah.
And if you get a luxury SUV, like a body on frame, big body tank of an SUV, but like anything that's jacked up, ride height and size and weight wise, but then is sold with the intention of being performance oriented is going to be compromised.
I agree. I will say, I think Porsche does a good job with the Macan and the Cayenne.
Yeah.
And I will say also the Jaguar F-Pace, really good.
The F-Pace SVR, I would love. Macan GTS, I've driven plenty of times. Probably the second best driving crossover SUV I've driven was a Macan GTS. The best driving one is an Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio. That felt like a slightly higher, like, sports sedan. No body roll, immediate responses, like masked its weight very well. Like, they're impressive.
Yeah.
But instead of the Stelvio, why not just get the Giulia Quadrifoglio?
Right.
For looks alone.
Yeah.
You know, not to mention weight. So I don't know. I see there's a market for it, but I will never. I don't know. I can never spend money on a performance crossover.
Right. Neither could I. Could do like a mid-level, like an F-Pace S or an X3 M40i or something like that, but nothing more than that. So let's do this. We'll do 2 more. Let's talk about Aston Martin V12 and then the new mail truck. So Aston Martin is committing to the V12 engine through at least 2026. And thank God, because Tobias Moores is the CEO of Aston Martin. He used to be Mercedes-AMG.
Okay.
And I don't know if you know much about him, but he's basically a German redneck. He wanted to V8. He's responsible for stuff like the CLK Black Series, the SLS Black Series, basically everything AMG from like 2010 or 2000. Well, he used to be he was like head of engineering, and then he became the CEO. But from what I've heard, I don't know if this is true, but the reason he left is because corporate at Daimler, which is now officially called Mercedes-Benz, Daimler doesn't exist anymore.
Right, I see that, yeah.
They basically kind of forced him that the new stuff, the new C63, is going to be a plug-in hybrid 4-cylinder, and there's nothing he could do about it. and I think that kind of pissed him off, and so he went to Aston Martin. Which I agree with that. Plugs are for butts, not AMGs.
Yeah, right.
That's not,
people, V8s.
I don't, you're going from a 4-liter twin turbo V8 that's amazing to a 2-liter plug-in hybrid. Fuck that. Yeah, sure, it'll be faster, but it doesn't matter. It's not going to be the same.
Right.
Aston Martin's committing to the V12 for as long as they can. We're going to be getting the new V12 Vantage very soon. Although they're not doing a DBX with the V12. And they also said that, I don't think it was in this report, but there was maybe another report saying that once the DBX is done, Aston Martin's not going to make another SUV.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. Because I heard that the DBX is like the highest selling model of all time. Got 60% of the sales last year were DBX.
Have you ever seen a DBX?
Not really. I looked in my rearview mirror and saw one pass the street behind me real quick. I got a glimpse of it, but I haven't spent time looking at it.
I have never seen one in person.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I haven't actually had time to study one, so.
But it's interesting. The DBX, it looks cool. I've heard they drive well, and they just came out that like 700 horsepower DBX.
707, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he's a good guy. I'm glad that he's now in charge of Aston Martin. I'm a little pissed off that he canceled the manual transmission.
Yeah.
But that's kind of also their fault to begin with. They did not market that at all, but you could get it was a 7-speed manual on the Vantage. They just didn't do anything about it. So let's move on to the last thing. The new mail truck, which is being developed by, I think, Oshkosh.
Yeah, it's first of all, it's ugly as fuck.
It looks like a platypus.
Oh, yeah, it does. It's so bad. I mean, practicality, usability makes sense, obviously, but Jesus Christ, did you like any other option, really?
Like, oh God! I mean,
they want them all to be EVs because they're getting 8.6 mpg. I want to say, so not like the EPAs.
Yeah. So they're all about. They want this to be super like fuel efficient and clean and all of that, and it gets 8.6 miles per gallon in the old Grumman LLV, which has been in service for over like 35 years.
Yeah.
Now I will say
that in those cars. There's heating, there's no air conditioning.
Yeah, but you get 8.6 miles per gallon with air conditioning on.
Yeah, swag.
If you don't use the air conditioning, I think it was something like, was it like 12? I think.
Horrible. My 98 Land Cruiser gets 8, so that's unacceptable. This is a brand new government vehicle.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know what kind of engine is going to be in this. It's probably going to be some crate engine from GM, something like that.
Or engine from Honda or some shit. That's
could
horrible.
Be. And then they are doing, some of them will be EVs. Some will be EVs, but not many. And like, it's just an embarrassment of this country. It doesn't matter.
Y'all on the contract with it, and then you find out after you sign the contract that's the MPG, and now you want to go back and try to make all the EVs and invest like another $10 billion for EV conversion. Like, what, you didn't catch that like 3 years ago when you started this contract? Like, come on.
And it doesn't matter who is in office, what political side of the spectrum you're on.
No,
the government's pretty much always been useless in a lot of factors. Not everything, but I mean, it's just like, did Stevie Wonder design this thing? Like,
he could have done better. Actually, that's like this thing is
it is so bad. Like, it looks it kind of looks like it's Chinese.
It does. Well, it makes Pontiac Aztec look like a modern art piece. Like, this thing is so hideous.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but the BMW XM concept looks better than this thing.
It looks way better than this. At least it looks futuristic. This looks like, it doesn't like, if it's going to look dumb or weird, at least look futuristic. Like,
it's too tall.
Top truck is like, it looks dumb and weird, but like the Cybertruck looks futuristic. This just looks dumb and weird and outdated and dilapidated and shitty. That's
I mean, those windshields are gonna crack like nothing else.
oh
So
yeah.
upright. They're gonna just bugs are gonna splatter on it. Like that, talk about cars having the aerodynamics of a brick.
That's it right there.
That's it. That is it.
Cinder block.
It is yeah. Good God. Well, yeah, so that's kind of just that. That's it. So, Brandon, why don't you tell us where everyone can find you, where you can find your podcast, Instagram, if anyone wants to follow you there.
Yeah, so Instagram is the number 4 and then Idiots Pod, all one word. We post the funny content on Instagram is on our story, and like a little memory circle things. And then every Friday we make a post about the current episode. And then the other 2 hosts you can find, under at Cooking with Wile, all one word, WILE. And then the other one is Wizzleman 400. So that's WIZZLEMAN 400. And there's the other 2 hosts, Chris Weil and Josh White. New episode comes out every Friday. We're on everything. I can't remember what everything we're on, but I know it's like Apple Music and the Amazon Podcasts, and of course Spotify. It's like Weezer, there's Pod Chasers, Pod FM. It's like just everything. I didn't set that shit up. My buddy that does the audio, Ben, he's in IT. He's got all the website done. He got all the streaming services linked up, all that shit. So, but yeah, every Friday, and I'm gonna have you on soon. Hopefully. We're gonna record tonight, but we might postpone tomorrow or Tuesday just because we're about to go to Auto Expo. And like I told you before we started recording, I spot a puppy yesterday. So we're gonna come back and spend some time with him. But yeah, either if not Monday, it'll be Tuesday. Worst case, next Sunday, have you out and do this in person. And
absolutely. I already sent you what I want to talk about. That was I didn't want it to be about cars, but that little story was just like, it's kind of perfect.
That is perfect. No, we do like car related articles on occasion. We've done 2 episodes, call them freestyle episodes every once in a while. Just top of our head, what happened, someone talk about, well, let's freestyle that. We've done 2 automotive freestyles. So we just get on there, instead of like me introducing the 4 to 6, 7 stories we're going to go over. It's like, hey, it's a freestyle episode. We're just going to let it fly. Yeah, we just talk. And it's like locker room conversation about roasting cars and companies and car owners and auto industry in general. So we do stand on occasion. But for any viewers of yours who are going to tune in when you are on us at all, be prepared for a lot more immature 10-year-old sense of humor, ridiculous idiocracy. So there's a reason why it's called. Thank you for having me. Podcast. Very aptly named. Aptly named. That's for sure. I'll be back on at some point. I'm always on to nerd out of our cars, of course. So thanks for having me. Yeah, of course, Brandon. Thank you so much for coming on, and I will. Like I said, I'll be on your podcast sometime in the near future, and like I said, be sure to hit up the Idiots Podcast everywhere you get podcasts, and the 4 Idiots Pod on Instagram. For sure. All right, cheers, Brandon. Thank you so much for coming on. Take care. Thank you.